Shalom Israel. This is the I.S.U.P.K. Milwaukee class for the day. You understand? What we gonna get into today is, of course, the biggest one of the pandemic going on in 2020. Of course, everyone knows about the coronavirus. You understand? But first of all, if anyone in Milwaukee has any classes, feel free to type them in. I'll get to them, whatever the case may be, throughout or at the end of the class. So what we're going to go into, of course, is that separation from all these other nations for blacks and Hispanics, Native Indians is the key and the solution for you or us not to catch the plague. You understand? It's 2020 right now, and everybody across the globe is in fear for their life, running around with masks on and gloves on, whatever the case may be, because we are, as a nation, we are scared. We're seeing that the pandemic is going into the astronomical numbers, you understand? And of course, cities are going on lockdown, places are having curfews, thousands are dying, hundreds of thousands of people have been catching it, you understand? So, of course, I can understand the fear that all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians have going on in their mind and in their hearts, because they don't want to die, they don't want to catch the virus, they don't want to be separated from their families, or whatever the case may be. It's all understandable. But let alone do we realize is that these types of things are sent from the Most High. Plagues, you understand, diseases, all these different types of things going on in the earth, these come from the Lord. And the way that we should be able to feel more comfortable in a situation like this pandemic going on, in quote, the coronavirus, is if you have the Lord on your side. You understand? So I'm going to help Israel understand why this is going on in 2020. Why the Lord sent such a dangerous plague or pandemic around the earth right now. And why blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians around the world should be worried about it. You understand? And the reason that we should be worried about it as a nation, as individuals walking around on the earth, if you're black, Hispanic, Native Indian, outside of the I.S.U.P.K, is because you do not have the Lord on your side as a person. You understand? Because one thing we have done in America and across the globe is we've conformed. We've integrated ourselves into joining all the other races of people out there. We follow their religions. We follow their democracy, their laws, their rules. You understand? And due to that, we're going to catch the same diseases, the same plagues, and all the same things that they really should be getting in their own, because we have went and joined their gods and left the protection of our God by joining them. You understand? Because the Lord never really meant us to join these other nations. He didn't intend for us to go join them and eat their foods and believe in they gods and their religions and intermingle with all the other life on the earth. That was never the situation the Lord wanted to give, and we're going to go over it today. You understand? So really, first off, we're going to start in the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. So anyone that knows the Bible or has read it front to cover, whatever the case may be, we should understand that the first 5 books in the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are all 5 books of Moses, or in quote, the Torah, whatever anyone wants to call it. But those 5 books in particular go over like the laws, the statutes, and commandments that the Most High gave and declared for all the children of Israel, which you would know as the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that walk the earth today. You understand? So in the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26, it goes on to say, "And ye shall be holy unto me." You understand? So now, when you hear the word holy, you think like special and outstanding and all that. But really, if you just go back to the definition of the word holy, it only really means separate. You understand? Set apart. You're different from you're put in a different category as the rest. You separated. You understand? So now the Lord's saying, and we, meaning the nation of Israel, shall be separated unto him. You understand? So it's like there's plenty of 18 races on the earth, or whatever the case. You have like the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, the Africans, the Caucasian race. We have different types of races on this earth, but little do we know as a whole that we are special unto the Lord. Like he chose us as like a special pair of shoes or a favorite shirt, one that he like sets to the side from all the rest to wear on like they to go out. Like people go out on Saturdays and Friday nights. Think about your best looking clothes, the ones that you love the most, or your best food that you save for the special occasions. That's how the Lord looks at Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. You know, so he separated us from the rest because there's just something about us that he prefers more than the others, right? And it goes on to read, For I, the Lord, am holy. Meaning that the Most High that sits up in heaven in the seat, he's separated as well. Meaning everyone can't reach him. Everyone can't get to him. He's not for everybody. He separated himself the same way he separated us from all the other beings on the earth. Meaning that he's the God. Of course, he created everything, but he really wants to take credit for the nation of Israel. You understand? He loves us so much. We're his special. He put us in a specific category that he would rather have us in, the same way he's in a specific category, being the only God that exists. You understand? And it goes on. And have severed you from other people that ye should be mine. I'm going to read it again for anyone that did not hear that. And have severed you from other people that ye should be mine. I mean, what does it mean to be severed? Severed means like if I have my arm right here and I grab a sword and I chop it off, I mean, this arm has been severed from the rest of my body. I mean, it's in a different location, in a different area now than my body is, because now they are not, I can't call it my body. It's just a severed limb, right? That's how the Lord looks at the nation of Israel. He severed us. He looks at us as that arm that was placed to the side rather than everybody else. You understand? He severed us from the other nations. I mean, he put us to the side and he made sure that there was no joining. There was no intermingling. There wasn't no black on white marriages or Hispanic on Asian marriages. He made sure that we were just put to the side. You understand? So we would be his because we're something special. You understand? I'm going to drop that. We're going to move over to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 53. Let me get there real quick. Because when you think about it, of course, in our day and age in America, across the globe, in particular America, right? We look at it as in the civil rights, we had leaders. In the 1900s, we had leaders that fought for integration and fought for equality and fought for ways that we can all be at peace with each other with all races on the earth. You understand, like your MLKs, your Malcolm X's, your Marcus, your Steve Harveys, and all these other people, or whatever the case. They fought and they promote that we need to be joined with all the other nations. You understand? Of course, as a people, we are on the bottom of the social chain. We're on the bottom of the power struggle between all races as a whole. You understand? So, of course, when we do have a black leader or someone of our nationality or race that has actually gave themselves self-esteem in America, and people look at them for advice and guidance and spiritual leadership or whatever the case, you understand? We look at them as if, wow, for them to be where they are, the way they believe and the things they teach must be accurate. Of course, like, for example, Martin Luther King, right? He's probably one of the most paraded black civil rights people to be around, or to ever be around. MLK, of course, he taught that we should have been integrated and we should join the hands of the other races near around us and walk in all equality, in all love and peace, right? And now that's why he has days and months and stuff like this named after him. Roads, schools, street signs, train systems, all these different types of things are named after him. Right? So of course, growing up in America, you would believe that what he taught was accurate. What he taught was God sent. But the thing is that when you read the Bible, everything that he actually went over were contrary. His beliefs and what the Bible says are two completely different things. You understand? Joining together hand in hand with the other nations, marrying them and loving upon them and all that is not the way to go. We're having public schools where you have every race of child at the same school learning the one individual history. You understand? What good does it do for blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians to learn white history or white agriculture or white economics? What, and not even, of course, that, because that's the most particular, most important, because that's what our race is. But what good does it do for other races to go and learn that same history? What does it do? What good does it do? You understand? At least when you look at the other nations, they have Chinatowns, they have Arab places, they got the Jewish synagogues and all these different types of areas. Even if they do join our schools, they go back to their areas and learn their own history. But black people and Hispanic Native Indian people do is we go to their public schools, we go to their religions, we go to whatever we do, whatever place we have sprouted out for. But and the thing is that we don't learn when we come home. That's the end of that. We stop learning. But what the thing should happen is when we come home from other schoolings, you should learning the histories and the agriculture of other nations. You should come home and learn yours as well. That's the fault with having. That's a fault that there is in this whole equality and this integration thing, is that you are suspect to only learning the knowledge and the history of the people that own those schooling districts or those colleges and all the education. You get the education from the ones that are in power. Like if, let's say, I moved to China. When I went to history class over in China, I would only learn Chinese history. Or if I went to Arabia, I'd only learn their history. Or Africa, I'd learn their history. We would only learn wherever is in charge in that specific domain. That's what's wrong. That's a big flaw in this whole integration aspect. So now we go to the Bible, which is the black God. You understand? The black, Hispanic, Native Indians. The Bible really is only pertaining to us. That's the thing that, of course, we wouldn't learn in the Christian church or the Muslim mosque or the Catholic churches. We wouldn't learn that. But when you go actually learn from people that are black history scholars or Hispanic history scholars and Native Indian history scholars out of the I.S.U.P.K, you would understand that the Bible only pertains to us. It's our history book. It's our laws. It's our how we go through economic structure and calligraphy or geography or whatever. You understand? That's what the Bible is. It's our book. But all the other nations have stolen our book and use it for their own self-gain due to integration. You understand? So let's read this next verse. So we're in 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 53. For thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth. One more time. For thou didst separate them from among all the people of the earth. You understand? Like the Lord separated us from all the other people on the earth. All the other people are all the other races. You're Chinese, you're Japanese, you're African, you're Arab, you're East Indian, you're Hawaiian. You understand? All these different types of people, the Lord separated the nation of Israel, blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, from among them. You understand? The Lord did not intend or does not intend to have us all living together under the same roof, under the same banner, under the same flag, under the same anything. You understand? He separated us from among them. And it's going to keep on going to say, to be thine inheritance, as thou spakest by the hand of Moses, thy servant, when thou broughtest our fathers out of Egypt, O Lord thy God. You understand? That's the whole point. When you go back and you watch, and you go, let's say in America, you go to history class. In history, they would tell you that it was the Caucasian race that were the slaves in Egypt. You understand? But little did you know, you do actually some research and go Google it on your own devices, you would see that that's not true. That has never been true and will never be true. But that's what you get taught in the schools of the places that are in power by another race of people outside of our own. You understand? When you go find out what happened in ancient Egypt, you'll see that it was the Africans, you understand, that had the Israelites in slavery. You understand? We were the ones building their infrastructure. We were the ones doing all the work, herding their cattle, being butchers, building their farms, building their palaces, building the pyramids and the sphinxes. That was Israel, quote, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's who built all that. It wasn't the Caucasian race, but you will be taught otherwise in the schools that were built and structured in the kingdom for the Caucasians. You understand? But integration has made us believe false from the truth. We don't learn the accurate history and all that. Because joining these other nations, joining other races of people, has never been something that the Lord wanted our people to divulge in, to jump into, to believe in, to follow. You understand? So we're going to go drop this. We're going to move back to Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. One of the most beautiful scriptures any black, Hispanic, and Native Indian person could read, because it gives you not only your identity back, but it gives you a self of where you belong, purpose in life. We walk around on this earth in 2020 not knowing what our purpose in life is. We think our purpose in life is to grow up, go to school, go to college, get a job, make an X amount of money, have kids, raise a family, and then one day perish into whatever type of death you might succumb to, and then it all is left for your children. That's not a purpose in life. That's no purpose. How can your purpose be to be born, learn, go to work, make money, then die? That's not a purpose in life. A purpose in life is something that gives you values, morals, a compass. You understand? What are you going to do on the earth to help benefit the structure that may be abound? You understand? That's the whole demographic of it all. Why do you exist? These types of questions we don't answer. We question these types of things, but then you would go to a religion or a school and they tell you, well, your purpose in life is to just believe and have faith in God. Well, that's a very vague answer. What does faith mean? What do I do with the faith? You understand? That's what religion gives you, is just a vague terminology of what and how things should be going on. You understand? And then you go to school system. You'll go to school and say, you know what? You got to learn history, social studies, mathematics, science. You got to go to PE. If you want to pick up an extracurricular, go ahead and do that as well. And then you'll be like, okay. Then you'll go to college. You'll do the same thing. You'll get a master's or a doctorate or whatever type of degree, a PhD or whatever type of degree you get. And even once you get that degree, there's no guarantee that that degree is going to be able to be put to use, because you might not get the job that you were hunting for your entire life. And even if you do get that job, now you're making money. You wake up, you go to work, you get off, you see your family for a few hours, go to sleep, and then do the same thing over and over and over and over again. What type of purpose is that? That's no different than a gear or a mechanism that turns the spin dials on a clock. There's no difference. You understand? A clock, it just all does is do the same thing every day, all year, every month. You understand? Of course, you'll get a day or two off, but during your days off, you might go get drunk. You might go kick it with your family. You might go to the movies, or you might just sit down in the house and relax. Great. Now, what difference are you making on this earth? What difference? You're not making one. You understand? So, let's read Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. You understand? This is talking about the nation of Israel. We are a holy people, meaning a separate people unto the Lord. Like I said at the beginning of the class, we are holy. Meaning we are separate from all the other nations. How do you know we're separate from the other nations? There's just something about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that changes, or that you can see on an everyday basis about us from everybody else. For example, you can see that who is the number one athlete on the earth? Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. How do I know this? Who is the number one? Who are the best basketball players on the earth? Your LeBron James, your Zion Williams, your Stephen Currys, right? Let's go to football. Your Russell Wilsons, you understand? Your Richard Shermans, your you understand? Or whatever. Your baseball, you have all the Hispanics running through the baseball. You go to the singing and the rap. You got Rihanna, you got your Drakes, you got your whatever you have a preference for, but majority is your black hip hop artists, right? Let's go to cooking. No one could cook better than a black, Hispanic, Native Indian woman. We've already seen on all the news areas and all the websites and social medias that other nations hardly even season their food. You understand? Because you go into this Bible, you find out that how the Lord sees the nation of Israel is that we're the salt of the earth. We make everything fresh. You understand? We're the best dancers for show on the earth. We do one thing, everyone else wants to do it. That's just how we are. We dress the best. Have you ever heard the term fresh to death? Who do you even think thought about that phrase? Someone, a black, Hispanic, Native Indian. Why? Because we just know how to make everything look good. We can look at Kanye West, for example. Yeah, even though he's off in a lot of things he does, he made a brand of clothing that looks like he got it straight out the homeless shelter or under the bridge in someone's makeshift house. But let alone is he's selling those clothes for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, even though they do look like trailer trash. Clothing, apparel. Just look at it. It's sad, but that's how fresh we are. That's how fresh we are. We the salt. We the greatest, right? And we the strongest. We the most athletic. We have the greatest minds. Look at our inventors. Look at them. We invented the car. We invented the phones, the laptops. You understand? We invented all the great things that we use in 2020, but who takes the credit? Our oppressors. The ones that we fought for in the civil rights to become equal with and conform and integrate with. You understand? So now, what did the integration do to benefit us when we created all these great things? You understand? You know how much money Tom Ford got from Ford, from that car brand? Crazy amounts. Because everybody that has cars now, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the black man that made the first car. That was a slave back in the day. You understand? Since he was a slave back in the day, he doesn't get to patent it. He doesn't get the repercussions from it. The ones that own his oppressors are the ones that get all the benefits. Right? But I'm going to keep on reading. And it goes on to say, the Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. What did I just say? The Lord looks at us as if we special. You understand? The same way, for example, when you a first time parent, your woman just gave birth to your first baby. That baby is something special. You know, you've always loved kids. You've always loved children. You go around and your homies or your homegirls, they'll have children. They just love uncle, whatever your name is. They love you. They want to play with you all the time. You be like, man, when I get one of my own, and then you finally do get one of your own, and that child that you just had is now the most special thing in your eye. Of course, you love all your nieces and nephews and all that, but when you have your own kid, it's something different. The love that you feel for that individual child that came out your loins or out your womb, that child is just something different. It's like, yeah, you come this way with me. You'll fight. You'll do everything you can for that child. Why? Because that child is the most precious thing, most special thing unto you. Because it's yours. That's how the Lord looks at the nation of Israel. That we are that just special child that he adores with all his might. And he does do that to the nation of Israel. He adores us, but like any good parent, he's got to be a good parent. Meaning he's got to be strict. He's got to be loving. He's got to enforce things. He's got to make sure that his child is raised in the right way. You understand? And I'm going to go on. And it says, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Meaning that all these other races of people, all the ones that might have the same skin tone, you understand? Or the ones that are in charge of the whole infrastructure in America, or the ones that are over in China and Japan eating all these octopuses and squids and calamari and all that. Out of all those other races, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in quote, the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, Indians, that's how the Lord looks at us. And we are above these other nations. Meaning that, of course, we're not above in them is in a power structure on the earth when it comes to military might and all that. Of course not. Why? Because we go join the other nations in their infrastructures. We go join the other nations in their wars and their militaries. We go do that. Whereas we don't have we did not have a military until 1969 under commanding General Yahanna. You understand? But you know what I mean, right? The Lord looks at the nation of Israel as number one on the food chain when it comes to all the other nations. Think about a pyramid. You have a food chain in the wilderness. You have your lions, tigers, bears, the predators. Then you have the herbivores and stuff like that that are just lower on the food chain. The Lord looks at us as the lions that rule the jungle. You understand? That's how the nation of Israel is supposed to be, on top. right? Because we are special and separate from everybody else. And now we're going to jump over to Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. All right, flip more pages at a time than this. All right. And now we're going to go over Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. And it goes on to say, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." For all the naysayers and all the Christians out there, the Lord said this again. "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." Meaning that he's not talking to the earth. He's not talking to every individual person that exists on this planet. He's not. He's talking to an individual race of people, which are the Israelites. You understand? And he has something to say, meaning, so open up your ears, grab some Q-tips, get the earwax out, and listen real quick. Because it might be, in quote, I know it is very imperative that you understand what's being said. Right? And it goes on to say, Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Now, the question is, out of that sentence, would be, who are the heathen? Or what are heathen? Heathen or heathens are a people that are outside of the race or outside of the nation of Israel. So that would be your Asians, your Chinese, your Japanese, your East Indians, your Hawaiians, your Africans, your Arabs, you understand? The Jewish people, the Caucasians. All those races would be considered heathens because they do not share the same blood as the nation of Israel. Meaning that their forefathers are not Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? So now, since we got the heathen out of the way, it said, learn not the ways of the heathen. Meaning that these other nations, they have their own cultures, their own customs. They got their religions, their democracies, their infrastructures, their laws, their morals. They have all these things. But the thing is that we are not supposed to learn them. You understand? They have nothing to do with us. They have nothing to do with the nation of Israel, and they cannot benefit our infrastructure. They cannot benefit our law. They cannot benefit our economy or our morals. They can't benefit, nothing that they have can benefit what we have going on this earth. You understand? So now let's think. Now we're really getting into it. This coronavirus that everyone is so scared about. Running to Walmart, running to Target and Lowe's and all these stores and grocery stores, collecting toilet paper and gloves and masks and hand sanitizer and soaps, you understand, and body butters. Everyone's filling up the stores and making the stores go out of stock like no other. Now, where did this virus originate from? This virus originated from the Chinese people. You understand? You might not like it, you might not agree with it, but the area that it started was over there in China. You understand? I know, not saying I support Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is not wrong when he says that this originated from China. You understand? Why can we say that? Because that the coronavirus started when a race of people that dwell in China and reside in China, and quote, the Chinese, started to eat a different kind of food no one really ate or eats, which would be the bat. The same bats that hang upside down in caves and use echosonic waves to be able to hear and see or whatever. That's the type of animal that this race of people decided to ingest and digest and use for food. Which we all should know by now in 2020 that individual race of people does eat a lot of strange things. Not only do they eat bats, but they eat rats, they eat dog, they eat cats, they eat worms, they eat earth, they eat everything. Cockroaches. There's nothing that they don't eat over there. But they started eating a bat. And then the Lord saw that they started eating bats. And because we, as a nation of people, being blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we eat things that other nations eat. We indulge in things that the other nations indulge in. For example, the other nations say that shrimp, crab are delicacies. That they are just such an eloquent and elegant type of food to eat. But the thing is that is far from the case. That is a thing that the Lord said in the Leviticus chapter 11 that we shall never eat. When you go read this Bible, man, thank the Lord for the Bible. But if you read this Bible, you'll see that in the Leviticus, the 7th chapter, it goes over the dietary law, meaning it goes over the laws that the foods that we can eat and can't eat. It separates the bad foods from the good foods, the foods that will make you sick from the foods that will make you healthy. You understand? And when you read it, you find out you are not supposed to eat lobster or shrimp or crab or pork or duck or bats or rats or cats and dogs and mice and worms and all these other foods that people decide to partake in because we see another nation eat it. We see another race of people indulge and love it. Yes, we do. But the thing is that who cares what they do? Are they you? Are you going to eat a cockroach just because someone else says it's delicious? Well, that's what we did when we heard about shrimp. Would you go eat a spider because someone else said it's delicious? Well, we did because we were told that crab was a delicacy. And if you did not know that crabs and crabs and shrimp are the cockroaches and spiders of the sea, then that's what you're eating. Right? So we're going to drop this. We're going to jump over to Amos chapter 3 and move forward. This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel. Now think about this. The Lord did not say that he is speaking, just having here wants us to hear something. He said, listen to this, that he spoke against us. Against us. I mean, this is something that we might not like. That we shall not like. Against means, against is another word, like something that you don't want to hear. Like verses or something like that, right? And it goes on to say, against the whole family, not just one, not just two, not just a few, but the whole family, which I brought up from the land of Egypt. The Lord did not just only bring up one or two individuals out of the land of Egypt from the nation of Israel when we got out. You understand? The Lord got the nation of Israel up out of underneath the Egyptians, under the tutelage of Moses and Aaron. You understand? And now it's going to go on to say, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Damn. Woo, that's a heavy thing to say. For all people that believe in equality and integration, the Lord, the God sitting on a throne in heaven, Jesus Christ's Father, said something that you Christians or Catholics don't want to hear or listen to. I'm going to read it again just for y'all. It said, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. And when it's saying families, it's saying all, it means all other nations, all other races of people. You understand? We are the ones that the Lord only pays attention to. You understand? He knows us. He cares about us above all, out of every last individual one. That's the thing. That's the things that we should understand. But because of integration, because of religion, we think and believe in 2020 and all the years prior to now is that the God of the Bible was for everybody. Because there's a verse in the Bible that people misunderstand. James 3:16. When it says the world, everyone thinks it means the planet Earth. But that verse does not mean the planet Earth. That verse actually means the world of Israel. Because the word world means age or society. It does not mean the earth. That's why the word planet is a word that you'd use for the earth. That's why you'd use the word earth to describe the planet. The word world has nothing to do with the entire rock that we live on. You understand? So when it says, for God so loved the world, it means a society of people, an age of people. You understand? Which are the Israelites. You understand? Now I'm gonna go on to read, and goes on to say, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. You understand? Like any good father, what the Lord does do is he punishes his children when they do wrong. I understand that we live in America. We believe that our children don't need to be punished sometimes. They don't know what they do because they so adolescent, they so little. They just toddlers, infants, and prepubescents and teenagers. I understand. But the Lord doesn't give a rat's behind about your age. If you do something against what he said to do or not to do, you shall reap the repercussions. You understand? So I'm going to go over to Galatians so people can understand that the Lord said something about people that do things. Everybody is accountable for their actions. In 2020, in the years prior to now, people always say something. You understand? People always say what goes around comes around. They believe in karma, meaning that if you do something, then something, if you do, let's say you do something wrong, then something wrong shall be done back to you. So if you, let's say you rob from somebody, then you shall probably be robbed from. If you murder somebody, then somebody that you love or care about, if not yourself, will probably be murdered. That's what people always want to say, right? But because people don't know the real God of the Bible, and they don't understand how the Lord really works, they want to give credit to everything else on this earth. The Lord had to put on paper so we could see and we could read and we can understand how he perceives things. So now we know we just read something that said, a verse that said, out of all the families of the earth, that he's going to punish the nation of Israel. He didn't say he didn't say he's going to punish everybody. He said he's going to punish the nation of Israel for their iniquities. Why? Because when you have something special to you, it's your own child, you care about it more than anything else, you're going to pay that child more attention than, let's say, than anybody's else. You wouldn't pay by anything else. Let's say someone has 4 kids. Out of those 4 kids, one of those children, the parents love more. There's no equality. I know it's hard to hear. If you are a family of 4, you the father, the mother, and 3 children, or 2 children. Yes, out of those 2 children, one is the favorite to one parent, if not both. You understand? Your mother and father, not saying they don't love you, but they're one of you children are preferred over the other in at least one of the parents' eyes, if not both. It's life. You understand? Get used to it. When you're at work, you have a boss. You might have the same position as somebody else, but guess what? One of you is seen in higher regard than the other. You understand? That's how the Lord is with the nation of Israel. Yes, the Lord did create all other people on this planet. He did. And there's no doubt about that. But out of all the people of the earth, he chose one nation to give his laws, statutes, and commandments towards, which was Israel. You understand? So yes, in this time of day, the coronavirus is dropping people like flies here and there. People are catching the disease. In just America alone, the U.S. only confirmed has 185,000 people have got the virus. And we're not saying that it's only Israel that's got the virus, but all nations have got the virus. But guess what? Israel, our numbers are climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing because the Lord punishes us for our iniquities. You understand? We are the ones that this virus is really here to. This virus is here to help us understand to stay away from these other nations and their cultures and the things that they follow and or do. You understand? But I'm going to read this verse real quick for all the people out there. This is Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Be not deceived, meaning don't be fooled. Don't be dismayed. Don't let somebody pull the curtain over your eyes. And it goes on. God is not mocked, meaning you can't mock the Lord. You can't. You can say things about him all you want, but the things that you say against him, don't think nothing's going to happen from that. And it goes on. For whatsoever a man soweth, meaning for whatever you might do, that shall he also reap. Meaning that whatever you do, there is a repercussion for it as well. You want to eat bat, shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster? Well, you're going to get fungal diseases and plagues upon your bodies. You understand? You want to, let's say, for example, you want to be gay or a homosexual, you're going to get HIV. And I'm positive about that. Pun intended. You understand? That's the whole point. There are things the Lord set out on this earth saying, if you do this, you'll get this. If you do that, you'll suffer this. And that's how the Lord works. So now, we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's go all the way back. So the time travel real quick over to this day and time. So now, we're going to read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. And it goes on to say, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, meaning if you don't listen to the Lord, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day. I mean, if we don't listen to his laws, his statutes, his commandments that he set forth for the nation of Israel, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. I mean, if we don't listen to what the Lord said and laid down in this form in his Bible, that there are curses that shall hit us, that shall overtake us. You understand? Would you not consider the coronavirus a curse unto you? Would you not consider that a bad thing that now you have? The same way you would consider AIDS or chlamydia or HIV. Would you not consider that a curse? You lay in the hospital bed at your nearest hospital. Would you not think in your mind, I've been cursed? Why me? Why does this have to happen to me? That's what you would think. Wonder why? Wonder why you got it? And why now you're in the hospital bed suffering and dying in agony and pain and turmoil and sorrow? Because you disobeyed the Most High. Because we as a nation disobeyed the Most High over and over and over and over again. The numbers are astronomical when it comes to how many times we disobeyed the Most High's laws, commandments, and statutes. And then we question why we gotta suffer. You want to know why we have to suffer? It's because we reap what we sow. We want to integrate with these other nations. Guess what we reap from that? We sowed something. We sowed the integration. We sowed it. We wanted to become one with all these other people. Equal, hand in hand together, singing and saluting the flags and kissing each other on the mouth and marrying one another when it comes to all races. Yes, that's what we sowed. And now we got to reap the repercussions. That's why it's called repercussions. Key word is reap. You understand? We reap that. And now we suffer and die because that's what we wanted. You understand? And then not only that, it goes on to say more. Verse 16 goes on to say, cursed shalt thou be in the city. Damn. It's not just saying the city, meaning just one individual city, everybody in Milwaukee. It's talking about the cities that we walk upon. The cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, Indianapolis, Indiana, New York, New Jersey, California, Oregon, all the cities and sidewalks on the earth. We cursed in them. Have you not seen the south and west side of Milwaukee? Have you not seen all the areas where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are predominantly dwelling in this city of Milwaukee? You really gonna tell me that? Look at that. We getting shot down by the police over here. We getting imprisoned wrongfully in this city, in these cities. We can't even walk around feeling safe in 2020 in our own city. Milwaukee isn't a safe place for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. No place on earth besides the I.S.U.P.K is a safe place to dwell on this earth. You understand? That's the whole point. We're cursed in the city, suffering and dying on crack cocaine. Our sisters running around on a pole in every strip club. Our brothers out there gang banging and trying and doing all these different types of drugs out here. We ain't safe in our cities. And if it ain't safe, then it's a curse, man. We are cursed in our cities that we dwell in. And then it goes in to say, and cursed shall thou be in the field. The land. What land do we own? What land? We're in Milwaukee. What land do you own? Do you own your land, or are you paying for your land or mortgaging your land? Well, if it was your land, why would you have to pay your monthly property taxes or your mortgages? If it was really yours, if your car was really yours, why do you have to pay a car note? If your phone was really yours, why would you have to have a cell phone plan? We cursed in the field. We cursed in the city, and we don't know as a people why. And I can tell you why. The I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General Yahanna can tell you why. It's because we have separated ourselves from the Most High God. We have become a people that have become more dependent on the other races of people on this earth, rather than becoming dependent on the God that gave us the life we have right now. It's sad. It's pathetic. You understand? So I'm going to drop this. We're going to scoot down to verse 21. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 21. You understand? Let's read it after this sip of water. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 21. And the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. Ooh. Wait, what? Wait. Let me read that again for all y'all. And it says, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. Now the two words in this sentence of this verse is pestilence. What is pestilence? What is it? Pestilence is a disease, man. It's just another word for disease. Now, what would we call the coronavirus? It is not. Is it not a disease? Is it not? Are we not running around buying face masks and gloves? And apparently now we can't stand 6 feet next to the next. We got to be 6 foot distance between people when we in stores or the sidewalks or whatever the case may be. 6 feet is a good distance. You understand? That's only a few feet away from how far our cars need to be away from each other when we drive on the streets. You understand? It's a good distance. But are we not all worried? I know the family that my wife's family, they definitely worried about this whole virus. My brother-in-law just found out today somehow, like it's not been in the news, that this virus is airborne. That this disease is airborne. It's not only when you touch things. So now he went and bought like a $20 mask. He's wearing that mug around thinking that mask is going to stop him from getting a virus. Man, if the Lord wants you to have a virus, you're going to have a virus. You understand? Of course, there's no harm in taking precautions to something. It's not. But guess what? Instead of wearing masks and gloves and walking around with hand sanitizer in your pocket every which way you go, if you want to guarantee your safety, all you got to do is follow all the laws, statutes, commandments that are up inside this Bible. It's oh so simple. You understand? If you don't want to die, obey God. Obey the Lord. This is ABC 1, 2, 3. You understand? That's why when you go read this Bible, it says what? If you follow and obey the Most High and His laws, statutes, and commandments, that no evil thing shall touch you. Meaning that you won't catch this disease that causes death outrageously. It's not, you ain't gonna do that. If you follow the law, statutes, and commandments, you ain't gonna get the coronavirus. You ain't gonna get AIDS. You ain't gonna get hepatitis C. You ain't gonna get all these bloodborne diseases or things that will be destroying you on the inside out. You don't have to worry about that type of thing. You understand? But when you living in the world, you living around believing in this integration and how everybody and God loves everybody nonsense that the Christian church spews outside its walls, you have something to be scared of. Why? Because the Lord is not on your side. The Lord is not on your side. So yes, I understand why people are taking these precautions, but these precautions are not the things that are going to save you and your families from catching this virus. You understand? These numbers ain't minuscule. If we talking about America in all by itself, there's 185,000 people that have caught this virus, or cases confirmed of this virus. You understand? And thanks to the news, you see the populations and the populace on where they are flourishing or where it's not flourishing. New York has almost half of the cases confirmed with 75,000. You understand? Then New Jersey, Michigan, California, Massachusetts, Florida. Now let's see where Milwaukee is. Wisconsin, we down here with the 1,351 cases confirmed and only 16 deaths. You understand? Of course, that's a smaller number compared to New York and New Jersey and Michigan and stuff like that. Yes. But that does not mean that you might not get it. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to help help you understand that this is not something that you can just overlook because you wear masks and gloves. You understand? That's the whole point. You can't just overlook it. You can't just believe that gloves and masks are going to save you. Why? Just because you have a mask on doesn't mean air is not going through the mask. You got to breathe some type of way. So you covering your mouth and your nose. It's an airborne disease. So covering your mouth and your nose does not mean that you can't catch it through your mouth and your nose. You understand? And you can't act like your hands are the only things that touch things. You're in your house. How do you think you survive in your house? You think air doesn't get into your crib? You touching your silverware, you touching your sinks, your toilets, you touching all these types of things in your house. Air is in your house. Every time you open the door, it can get inside. Every time you open a window, turn on a fan, it can be in your house. Stop acting like face masks and gloves are the things that's going to protect you. The thing that's going to protect you is the Most High of the Bible, which is this is the God of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you want to live this outbreak, if you want to survive this pandemic, separate yourself, follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, and live again. Live. Become free of the burden of fear. Fear is a disease in itself, man. Because you know what you do on this earth is wrong. That's why you're scared of things. If you live this life doing everything right, following the Most High, serving His laws, statutes, and commandments, fear is nothing to be worried about. Because the only thing you should fear is the Father up in heaven. And guess what? The Father up in heaven is only going to give you things and kill you if you disobey Him. It doesn't mean you might not have to go through hardships or tough times. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Lord ain't going to just take you about this life like that unless you over here disobeying Him. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people don't die because they serve the Lord. Everybody's got to die at a certain age. But I'm saying it's not like you're going to get AIDS or the coronavirus or catch a straight bullet to the noggin. You're most likely, you'll get more of a peaceable death. You understand? That's all I'm saying. You ain't going to be feared for your life. You will be one of those people that get to lie down and actually pass away in your sleep. Because the Lord has mercy and He cares about you and He knows you're a good child. You don't deserve a bloody, gruesome death. You deserve a peaceable death. You understand? But I'm going on. I'm just rambling now. Now let me keep going. I'm going to read up to the top again. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 21. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee. The second word is cleave. You understand? Cleave means it's going to hold tight on you. It's not going to let you go. You understand? This pestilence, I mean, these viruses and these diseases are going to hold on to you and not let you go. You understand? Then they might not. If you want to guarantee that you ain't going to get held upon by these diseases, just obey rats and dog and cat and shrimp, crab, pork, lobster. Don't eat these types of things. Don't celebrate birthdays and all these holidays, New Year's, Easter's right around the corner. St. Patrick's Day just passed. Don't follow these types of things, man. These types of things the Lord did not give you to you and take your life away, man. Because you don't want to serve the Lord. Serving the Lord isn't rocket science. It's not a thing that's over here and it's going to make you sad. Serving the Lord is the greatest thing you could ever do. It's the greatest thing you'll ever feel. Why? It gives you a purpose in life. It gives you something to be glad and happy about. You feel accomplished in yourself. You are serving. You're not just serving some random boss at your job at Walgreens. You ain't serving some random boss over here at your mini market or at your hospital or your school. You ain't just serving some random person. You serve the law, you follow the law, statutes, and commandments. You serving the Almighty God up in heaven. How much more gladness can you get from doing that? How? And then on top of it, you know that you're about to you'll receive something sooner or later inside of it, meaning authority and rulership inside. As a man, as a woman, you're going to be married to one of the greatest men to ever walk, to one of the greatest men to walk this earth. You understand? That's the whole point. The repercussions and the benefits of serving the Lord definitely outweigh the things that you might get out of serving man or serving and loving and integrating with all these other nations. You understand? But I'm going to drop that right now. And let's grab Luke chapter 21, verse 11. Let's get it. All right. Luke chapter 21, verse 11 goes on to say, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Has anyone been paying attention to the news? Anybody? Because there have been earthquakes going around across the world. You understand? Like a week ago, I watched a video of a volcano erupting. How do volcanoes erupt? Through earthquakes. You understand? Earthquakes have been going on in random places that you would normally not see them, but they are. You understand? It goes on to say, and famines. What's a famine? It means a scarcity of food. What's going on right now in 2019 or 2020? There are food spots that do not have food inside them. They're being pillaged. Like I said, I watched a video a few days ago about a place being ransacked. I mean, the National Guard was out there. You understand? They had people running out there with tires, food, shovels, everything. Because people are so scared to death about this coronavirus that you want to make sure, of course, that you got food and all the necessities to survive a long-winded outbreak. You understand? Look what happened. This virus hit America, and a few days later, everybody ran to the store